And next we have Gabe O'Reilly, who is going to give a talk about measuring a departure from random mating using multi-gene family data. And he's supervised by Bill Sherwin.
Yep, am I good to go?
And you're good to go.
Hell yeah. Today I'm going to be talking about one of the 3 projects I'm doing as part of my thesis. All of my projects are based around developing new analytical methods for population genetics. And this method will allow other population geneticists to measure a departure from random mating using multi-gene family data with next-gen sequencing technology. I'm sure people in the Zoom might not be too sure what those words mean, so I'll give a real quick overview. Oh, the slide's not working. Random mating is pretty much what it says on the tin. A state where all individual mate choice is completely random, as opposed to something like inbreeding, where all individuals are aiming for their family. The thing is, a lot of population genetic models work best when random mating is assumed. And if your population departs from random mating, you might just get some cooked results. So it's extremely useful to know if your population departs from random mating. And the current method for doing that is a thing called FIS. And FIS works great. It's an industry standard, but it has a few limitations when it comes to multi-gene families. These are cases where there are multiple locations within a genome with similar variants. When it comes to sequencing those traits, that's where FIS hits a bit of a wall. See, FIS as a measurement is location specific. That means it can only be applied to one location on a genome at a time. Sure, you can average FIS values across all locations, and that'd work great, but to do that, you need to know exactly what traits are at each exact location. And unless you're dealing with a model species with a near perfect genome information, next generation sequencing just can't get you the data you need. So we need a method that's not location specific. And thankfully, after a year or so of bashing my head against a computer, I finally got one. Using simulations where I'm a god and the mere mortal limitations of sequencing technology don't apply to me, I can compare FIS and my method using data that would be impossible to get in the real world to see how accurate my method is. I'm also applying my method to some real animals where we have a really good idea of the mating patterns from years of previous study. My method uses Shannon's information to compare the diversity of individuals on average to the diversity of the whole population. However, my method is calculating the diversity of all the similar locations at once, sort of like a big soup of genetic variants. 2 other factors that play a role in my measurements are the number of locations in the genome and the genetic evenness. So, with these powers combined, I have a pretty solid method, one that's infinitely better than all the other FIS analogs for multi-gene families out there, because there literally aren't any others. Thank you. Stop share.
Thanks, Gabe.